ReefBum is sponsored by Bulk Reef Supply and Ecotech Marine.
Coming up, an update on the Peninsula tank. So this tank just hit its 1-year anniversary. I just can't believe time has really flown by. It's hard to fathom that I started this tank a year ago, but things have been going really, really well. Now for the first 5 months, as those folks that have been following the video series know, I didn't have any corals in this tank. I just ran the lights at 10% their output. I just wanted any ugly phases to work themselves out without any corals in the tank. So I did that and things were going really, really well. I put some starter frags in the tank back in March, and I put some starter frags from my established system into the tank. So I put in an Oregon blue tort, a Cali tort, Jackson's rainbow tenuous, a Walt Disney, Sanjay's leprechauns beard, and a blue boy table. I think those are the frags I put in. And they've been doing really, really well. The Cali tort has been going great. It's a fast grower on my other system, so it's been growing really, really good and holding some awesome color in this tank. The Oregon blue tort, holding its color, not growing. Sometimes that happens. The other frags are doing pretty darn good. I did get a Dinos Outbreak, as I detailed in a few episodes ago in this video tank series. That was difficult. So I had some other frags in the tank after I put the starter frags in, and I lost a couple of those due to that Dinos Outbreak. You know, as I mentioned in that part of the video series, I used UV. I did a 2-day blackout, so I think that certainly impacted those corals that didn't make it. But overall, I had maybe 90% survival rate through the dinos, and that was a really, really bad infestation. The next thing that I did was I put in some larger colonies for my established system. I had this very large Orange Monte cap that was just taking up way too much room in my frag tank, one of my frag tanks. So I put in this tank. I also put in a large hammer coral. I tried putting in some Goniopora, but my pyramid butterfly fish, I believe those 4 fish were picking at the Goniopora that I put in, so I couldn't keep them in there. Most of the frags that I've added to this tank were back in June and July. I probably added in about 50 SPS frags to this tank at that point in time. Now, the one thing that was interesting, I had this biofilm on the rocks, just a lot of gunk algae on the rocks. It wasn't anything that was getting out of control and wasn't you know, a major cause for concern, but this biofilm was making it tough for these frags that I was going onto the rocks to stay on the rocks. I was using super glue and putty, and you know, after a week or two, they would be falling off. And I would probably say maybe half of those frags I had to remount at some point in time. And as a lot of you know, the more you're touching frags and remounting, and it just starts the whole process all over again. So given all of that, I'm really, really happy where things are at this point in time. I'm using LEDs for the first time ever, the GHL Mitras, and I am super, super happy. I'm getting some great growth and some colors. This PC rainbow, bright red, growing really well. The Cali tort I mentioned, other frags are encrusting. So given that, you know, most of these frags have been in the tank for 3 to 4 months, and that I'm getting good colors and growth, and the fact that a lot of them fell off and had to be remounted, hell, I think I'm really, really pretty ahead of the game and very happy. Now, in terms of this biofilm on the rocks, a few weeks ago, I used Brightwell's Razor. And this is an all-natural product that has polymers in it that you know, are supposed to dislodge all the gunk and biofilm and other nasty stuff that's on rocks. And I think it really did help out a lot. So I might do a video in the future about razor. One other slight issue that I forgot to mention, I don't think this is really a big issue at all. It's a slight issue. There's some very large bubble algae in the tank. You probably notice it in some of the footage. But a lot of that seems to be disappearing. I've been using the Brightwell's Clean, and I've heard that Clean can help, eliminate bubble algae. I think this is bubble algae. They're just very large bubbles. They're not the typical small bubbles I'm accustomed to seeing with bubble algae. But yeah, there's a lot of them in there, but they are slowly dissipating, and I don't think they're hurting any of the corals. I have this one that's butt up against the Oregon blue tort. I keep thinking about removing it, but I don't want to pop it and release any more spores in the tank. But yeah, so that's just another minor thing that's going on with the tank. But overall, just after a year with the tank being up and running, I think things are going great. I've got as you'll notice in the tank, there's a few other larger colonies in here that are on the bottom of the tank. And again, I just have so many corals in my other system that I needed to do something to make room in those frag tanks. So hey, I was like, why don't I just fill up some room in this tank? And I put in some encrusting Montes, a Sunset Monte, gorgeous, gorgeous coral, a Superman Monte, Mystic Sunset Monte. So those are on the bottom of this tank. I had a large Jackson's Rainbow Tenuous colony that I put into this tank, a very large Milka Stylo, a green, well, I call it a Kryptonite Tenuous. It's bright, bright green. So that's in the tank. I've got this, well, it's interesting. I mentioned that the pyramids were picking at the Goniopora. Those were bright green Gonies. But I also have a very large red Goni in the middle of the tank here, and they're leaving it alone. It's been in the tank for a very, very long time. So that's going to do it for this Peninsula tank build video series. Wow, what a journey! It was supposed to be a 24-part video series. This is the 25th episode. I guess you'd call it a bonus episode. I really want to thank my sponsors for supporting the series and for you folks tuning in to watch. But this is not going to be the last of, obviously, the updates on the Peninsula tank. Please subscribe to the channel. I will be doing updates every now and then. But it's been quite a journey, and I'm really psyched to document the rest of it. So thanks again.